So there we are sitting in voice. It's Monday afternoon, so we're dreaming about Signet of the Priory or Sephorium Pacemaker coming out of our vaults on the reset, and people are still trying to kind of look for some of these weekly keys that they're looking to do. So I get into voice with 3 of my other friends, and we're kind of talking about trying to find a 5th player to help us with our weekly. And in my bags, I have a Darkflame Cleft, which we've decided that's going to be one of the keys that we're looking to do for our weekly to allow people to try to get a little bit more gear out of their vault. We can't find a 5th player, so what are we supposed to do? I have an idea, though. What would happen if basically you listed a 10 in LFG, but it was a 15, so the reversed boost, and we took a player who was thinking that they were getting a 10, and we kidnapped them, and we put them in a 15 just to see how they would perform. Would they be able to stand up to the dungeon? We knew that we could kind of like 4-man the dungeon, worst case scenario, so we start looking for our, I would describe them as victim in LFG. In worst case scenario, they just leave. I had this on 15 resilient. And so if they just leave, you know what, we run it again, or maybe we find a friend or something like that. No harm, no foul if they end up leaving. Maybe it's just a little bit of a waste of their time. We start looking for somebody in LFG. And I'm looking for somebody who hasn't necessarily even timed this on a 10, who doesn't really have any maximum geared alts, isn't like 3k IO, isn't somebody from my chat or anything like that I would know or would actually be able to adequately process the situation and be able to play up to the standards of the group. I just kind of wanted to see if this person was dropped in this situation, would they be able to perform and time a key on a 15? So we found our victim. Our victim in question, Kyhunter, of Area 52 of the Guild Sanity. They are 2355, and they kind of leave an interesting note. They say, I'm a gamer. And whenever we were selecting players, Terathal kind of said something in voice that was kind of funny. He said, pick the person with the best note. And so we did. We picked Kyhunter, the gamer, at 2355 IO. They had never timed a 10 Darkflame Cleft. Their best dungeon up until this point was a 10 Motherlode. Out of time. Very impressive indeed. My Raider IO add-on doesn't show any like main characters linked or anything like that, so I think that there's nothing really sketchy going on. So Kyhunter joins the party and confidently types, yo. Everybody else greets him pleasantly, but he doesn't know what he's about to get himself into, and it's about to be some absolute nonsense. And so we get ready to start the key. We have my friend Sherwin on a Vengeance Demon Hunter, my friend Sue, he's playing a Resto Shaman, and Terathal, he's on a Warlock. And then we have Kyhunter of Area 52 to round out the composition with me on a Balanced Druid. So ready check goes up. /pull 10 has been engaged, and then the key has started. And immediately Kyhunter types in party chat, all caps, realizing that it's a 15 almost immediately. And to our absolute surprise, this 661 item level marksmanship hunter who typed in their note that they're a gamer, that's 2455 IO, started blasting the first pack of the dungeon. He started opening up and he was doing like 10 million DPS to the point where everybody in voice is like, wait, what? Hold on, he's cooking the key. We didn't know if he was going to do like realistically any damage in this dungeon. We didn't know what the scope of this player was going to be, but he claimed he's a gamer. And man, he actually opened up and started doing a ton of DPS on AoE. However, we will continue on into the key and we make it to the first boss. And Kyhunter, let me just say, your damage, while you are a gamer on the first pull, your damage on the bosses was a little bit lacking. So, you know, there's only so much that you can reasonably be looking to do, especially at like 661 item level. But Kyhunter proceeded to get beached by our Vengeance Demon Hunter on Old Waxbeard. But it makes sense. You know, these are kind of the things that you look to expect whenever you reverse grief somebody in LFG. You don't really know what to expect. But things are actually starting to shape up quite nicely. We make it through Old Waxbeard, and we have a boss kill time of 6:15 for the first boss split, which is honestly totally fine to be looking to time the key. And whenever we're playing with Kyhunter, you can kind of tell that they're pressing their defensives and they're going through the motions of the dungeon in a way that you would expect from a more experienced player. They're utilizing their defenses properly. They're pressing their offensive CDs on CD. And while their damage is maybe a little bit lacking compared to the other people that are in the group, that's kind of to be expected. They also do this insane thing on the Blazicon Trash Pull. So on the Blazicon Trash Pull, we accidentally whiff our Silent Sigil, and everybody is like, okay, we're going to need to be looking to LOS, and Kyhunter somehow recognizes that we have whiffed our Silent Sigil and then gets in position as well on the candles to make sure that he's also LOSing the Quenching Blast, meaning that there's a level of awareness from our 2355 IO Hunter from LFG that we didn't absolutely expect. And so having seen this LOS on the candles in the Blazicon room, I'm kind of wondering if this guy's actually 2355 IO, or if this was some alt that maybe we got duped by. What exactly was the situation? Because remember, whenever I invited this player to our group, he didn't have any alts that were listed on my Raider IO add-on, so it looked like that was his main character. That looked like it was his only character that he had. And so but I'm watching him play, and he's actually super skilled just as a player, which makes me wonder if he's somebody's alt, or maybe there was something that we ended up missing. But we continue on, right? We continue on in Blazicon, and honestly, with the Restoration Shaman, there's not a lot of leeway, especially whenever you're 661 item level, and there's a lot of potential to actually get one-shot by the Blazicon AoE without Oracle Disc Shield, because we don't have that additional help to be able to kind of like save our Hunter. You need to really make sure that you're rotating your defense as well. And man, Kyhunter is actually on top of his shit. He's actually able to rotate his defense as well. We also Warlock Gate through the Candle King on the side, and Kyhunter is right on top of it as well. He understands where we're going and what we're going to be looking to do in each and every single dungeon. And again, you're kind of getting the vibe where, okay, maybe something's up here. I'm kind of wondering, okay, maybe this is like some 3k IO alt, because whenever you can like look at players, if this guy was genuinely and truly 2355 rather, it's one of those things that he would like move his character in a specific way, and he would just kind of deal with the dungeon in a specific way that wouldn't be correct relative to what the remainder of our party was doing. But he was just kind of keeping in step with the remainder of our party in this 15 dungeon, which, you know, is incredibly impressive in its own right. And so again, we're kind of like, oh, this is kind of an interesting, we're kind of getting the weird vibes that maybe this guy is kind of better than we expected. And so we make it onto the recently buffed Candle King. And might I say, raid boss status for sure. This fight is absolutely nuclear difficulty, and whenever you're playing with a composition such as a Warlock, a Balanced Druid, and a Hunter, you didn't do your Resto Shaman healer any favors. Now, Resto Shaman actually has pretty good HPS for this fight, but we were also leaving up a bunch of statues at once. So, myself, our Resto Shaman, and my Vengeance Demon Hunter end up 3-manning the remaining 20% of the fight, as our Warlock and our Hunter ended up going down. It was very difficult to deal with, and then we ended up having some fears go off occasionally as well, and I actually thought that we were going to be wiping and depleting this key the moment that fear went off, but our Restoration Shaman was able to recover, and with a kill time of 18 minutes and 57 seconds into the dungeon, we are off to the final part of this dungeon, and this is actually looking timeable. Whenever we started this challenge, we were kind of talking about it in voice. We didn't necessarily know if the person that we were going to get from LFG was going to be able to time this, and that's when I posed in voice this question. What's the prediction on this guy's main, Zayo?
His movement on the candle boss was good.
What do you think he's going to be?
32.
Well, I can see.
You can see his main?
Oh. Yeah.
What is it?
3205.
And so as you heard, somebody actually had an answer for this. So apparently what has happened is Kyhunter has a different character, a Vengeance Demon Hunter, that is a privated character on Raider IO, which means that, of course, his IO wouldn't show up on the Raider IO add-on if the character is privated, but somebody had the actual answer to what his IO at this time was on his main, and it was 3200, which it makes sense now. Everything makes sense whenever you're watching what's going on. He claims to be a gamer, and he actually is a gamer. He knows all the mechanics of the dungeon. That's why, even though his damage isn't great, you know, he's going to be doing like 2 million DPS overall, especially 660 item level. The reason that mechanically he's able to kind of keep up with the demands of the dungeon, it's because he's playing a 3200 he's a 3200 IO main and playing a very low IO alt. And so now I kind of feel like that meme where it's like I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me kind of situation where, you know, we were supposed to be reverse griefing, but he said he was a gamer and we didn't really know what to expect, but he actually was a gamer. He was a gamer all along, and he played us, you know, by having his Raider IO privated. It was one of those things that we didn't recognize what we were even getting ourselves into, and he was able to continue to progress through the key. So now we are on to the Darkness encounter, and we actually have a decent amount of time remaining in the dungeon. With 5-ish minutes remaining, we're actually playing the end of the dungeon fairly slow, and our Resto Shaman DCs. He DCs for like a minute, and this is the worst possible case scenario. How are we going to be able to time the key? But fortunately enough, it comes back. And with Bloodlust available right on pull, we have around 4 minutes and 30 seconds to deal with the fight. And so assuming that everything goes clean, we don't have too many deaths, we should be able to deal with this appropriately. I do end up running most of the candles, and we kind of end up just kind of limping through the end of the Darkness encounter. We actually end up having one of the fears go off, applying the AoE haste reduction to our party, but that's not going to cost us any. And at the end of the day, we were able to time the dungeon with 1 minute remaining, allowing Kyhunter to get his first 15 on his fresh alt, and proving that people from LFG who claim that they're gamers probably are. And so ultimately, this was just a video for fun. We were just going to try to see, you know, what would happen if we took somebody from LFG and listed it as a 10 and then threw it up as a 15. And Kyhunter was actually very nice at the end of the run. He realized actually he was in the group. He didn't realize that. I don't think he noticed that it was my character or anything like that. He said that he ended up getting 111 points, and he also claimed that he watched the YouTube videos occasionally. So if you're watching, thank you so much for participating in the content. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. I've been doing a Zero to Hero series recently where I'm streaming every single day on an Elemental Shaman, trying to get that character to 3K as fast as possible. I'm currently on like day 8 or day 9, and I think I probably have like 4 or 5 more days in me before the series is complete. So if you enjoy that kind of content, come check it out on my Twitch. Beyond that, I hope to see you guys in the next video, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.